What's up gamers, Cryptigo here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. For today's episode, we're hopping over to the retro side of the game to take a look at a cult favorite at its highest speed, Yoshi Valley at 200cc. On April 30th, 2017, the world record for this run was set at 1 minute 26.688 seconds by the American player Jimmy. Fast forward to February 23rd, 2021, and the record was brought down to 1 minute 24.470 seconds by the Dutch player Stur. That's a 2.2 second improvement between records and a 2.5% faster time. Both players here have quite the resume. Our former world record holder Jimmy has broken 288 world records across 38 unique runs, all at 200cc, and has spent over 1,300 days holding at least one world record. He's top 2 in all-time records and top 5 in records broken in 1 year. Our current world record holder Stur has broken just under 250 world records across 14 unique runs, good enough for top 5 all-time records, and has spent nearly 1,300 days holding at least one of his now 8 current world records. At pre-release, the world record was barely under 131, but within days it had gotten down to a low 126. 126 became 125 as Jimmy would get the sub first, and after Tyler beat him, he dropped 8 world records in a row to bring the time down by another half second. English player Ryan 5 and Doodle got into it for a few records, and as the record sat at a low 125, Soman came through and dropped this 125.1 that would stand as the world record for over 250 days. In April of 2019, Stur put up a few world records and shaved off the last tenth of a second to get his 124. Soman actually responded with 2 more world records, and the second one would hold for over 500 days as the world record. After those days went by, Stur came back and dropped 9 world records, beating Soman by over 2/10. Alberto came in for a few records, but then Stur really started trying and dropped 12 consecutive records and took it down by 3 more tenths of a second in February of 2021. In total, the record was broken 73 times by 14 different players. These loadouts look different, but their stats are almost identical, which was surprising. Jimmy goes with the combo of Dry Bowser driving the Strudel Cart with the rollers and the Super Glider. Stur goes with the online meta combo of Waluigi driving the Wild Wiggler with the Azer rollers and the Gold Glider. You'd think I photoshopped these stats since they look so similar, but they are in fact legit. Jimmy and Stur are rocking the same top speed, acceleration, and mini turbo stats. Stur has a tiny advantage in handling, but it really is more or less the same. The only real difference is in the weight and grip stats, where Jimmy holds the slight advantage in both. Having such balanced loadouts like this means any improvement to Jimmy's record is solely because of better driving by Stur. Yoshi Valley as a course is fun, but unfortunately the time trial is pretty predictable. Stay on a good line and get extra speed basically wherever you can. However, there were a few strats that surprised me, so stick around while we take a look at what Stur did to beat Jimmy's old time. Jimmy starts off the race with a rocket start and bears left before starting a drift around this first turn. He'll carry it all the way to just before this bridge and get the Super Mini Turbo. After the jump boost and Super Mini Turbo around the next turn, he'll hit the jump boost on the second ramp to close out S1 after carrying a drift off the first ramp. Stur also hits the rocket start and bears left before starting a similar drift around the first turn and up to the bridge for the Super Mini Turbo. After hitting the jump boost, he'll grab another Super Mini Turbo around the next turn and trick off both ramps that follow before closing out S1. With the lines being so similar and the Mini Turbos being the exact same, the only thing we can accredit Stur's early lead to is that extra jump boost. Not sure exactly how much time it saves, but his lead does sit at over 2/10 of a second at the end of S1. Both racers have the same approach here in S2. They ride out the back straight and hit the Super Mini Turbo around the first turn while collecting 3 coins. Next, they chain that with a normal Mini Turbo and start up another prolonged Super Mini Turbo. They'll carry that to about where the egg is and ride out the boost onto the bridge for S3. Both racers grab the same arrangement of Mini Turbos and the same number of coins, but thanks to the slight line adjustments from Stur, he was able to build on his lead and go up by 4/10 of a second going into S3. Jimmy brings this normal Mini Turbo across the bridge and grabs another quick one before taking this shortcut. He'll drift up the hill, and just as he hits the ground, he'll release his Mini Turbo and use his mushroom to stay on the grass before coming across the finish line. Stir also carries a mini turbo across the bridge and gets one just before the shortcut. When he starts to drift up the hill, he's in the air for less time, but that means he gets to use his mushroom sooner and save more time as he comes across the finish line. Again, we notice a similar approach by both racers with marginal improvements to it by Stir. At this point, he now leads by over half of a second at the end of lap 1. There's nothing different about Jimmy's S1 on lap 2. Just a long super mini turbo followed by a jump boost off the bridge and then another super mini turbo off the next ramp and one more jump boost to close out the section. Stir sticks to his lap 1 approach for most of S1. Super mini turbo, jump boost, and then another super mini turbo. After the second one though, he doesn't go for the immediate jump boost and instead drifts off the ramp and carries that up to the next ramp where he'll get this mini turbo and jump boost to close out the section. That is about the only major difference we've noticed so far between these two racers, and it just so happens to be the move that saved the most time thus far. Or at least it looks that way, as Stir's lead has jumped up to just under a second going into S2. Through S2, both racers go for a tighter drift around the first turn, only this time, Stir gets an ultra mini turbo. After that turn, they'll chain their normal and super mini turbos on a very tight line, hugging the fence all the way down. Once they come out of that, they just continue onto the bridge for the final section. Now that ultra mini turbo from Stir was something different, and it definitely helped him grow his lead further as it sits over a second at the end of S2. Through S3, Jimmy just does what he did on lap 1, carries a mini turbo across the bridge and then drifts onto the hill and uses his mushroom to make the shortcut before the finish line. Stir also carries a drift across the bridge for the mini turbo, but takes the shortcut a bit differently. He starts drifting at a different angle and uses his mushroom before he even touches the grass. After that, he just explodes over the hill and rides out the boost of the mushroom to close out lap 2. To give you an idea of how much faster that was, let's take a look at the S2 to S3 lead gains from laps 1 and 2. We see that on lap 2, Stir increased his lead by 240 milliseconds, which is 9/100ths of a second more than he increased his lead over the same gap on lap 1. So now we know his shortcut on lap 2 was faster than lap 1. Stir currently sits ahead by 1.3 seconds after outsplitting Jimmy by nearly 8/10ths of a second. Through the final lap, both racers stick to their lap 2 approach, and that starts with a long drift around the first turn up until the bridge. After that jump boost, they each grab another super mini turbo and drift off the next ramp and then hit another jump boost, plus another mini turbo if you're Stir. Both racers head down the back straight and get either a super or ultra mini turbo around this large turn. They'll chain that with a normal and prolonged super mini turbo as they go past the egg and then collect another mini turbo before using their last mushroom to make the cut and close out the race. Stir comes across the line with a time that was 2.2 seconds faster than Jimmy's former world record. So by getting more mini turbos and taking a better line through the shortcut, Stir was able to cap off his 12th consecutive world record and achieve his likely goal of 0.4 on this track. I wish I got to hear more from him, but he wasn't feeling it yet again, so let's just check out the best known splits. The best known splits for this run show that it's become extremely optimized thanks to Stir's efforts. He owns all 3 of the best known laps, and neither of them are any more than 3 frames faster than his own world record splits. Lap 1 is where he could improve the most, lap 2 is damn near the best known split, and his world record lap 3 is the best known lap 3. With a total of 3 to 4 frames that can be knocked off, one wonders if a 0.3 may be theoretically possible as these splits get faster. It's likely nobody else will come close to that, but you also wonder if there's someone out there that can challenge Stir. The worldwide top 10 consists of 5 national and 3 continental record holders. At the top is Stir, a few tenths back is Spanish record holder Alberto, and rounding out the top 3, just half a tenth back, is American record holder Vincent. The rest of these 124s share just over 6/100ths of a second in separation and include names such as Army, Soman, Technical, and this random guy. At the 8, 9, and 10 spots, we have 3 Japanese players in Amond, Yoshi, and Scary. With a lead of multiple tenths over someone like Alberto, Stir has put up one of the most optimized records in the game, and definitely the most optimized one I've taken a look at thus far. I'd guess his record is going to stand for even longer than the already 330 days it's been world record, but with Alberto in second place, you only wonder when he's going to make his move and go for the top time. That's the end of episode 62. Hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed this video, like and share it with your friends and comment on which course you'd like me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.